I'll tell you what. I watched that documentary on Netflix. Andy and
how
Jim.
was it?
It was good.
Yeah,
crazy.
Really nuts.
Nuts.
He really went all the way.
Went all the way, and they even had Andy's family there, like sister, and like it's insane. Like it's like talking to Andy, like just the character you'd play. And Universal didn't want the footage released because they said you'd come off like an asshole, which I guess, but they're worried it affected.
Was
the movie.
he talking about it now, Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Has he gotten a little crazy?
He was president.
Or not? Well, what do you think?
I don't think everyone's like, oh, he's crazy, and then I had people going, oh, do you see what he did to his ex-girlfriend? She committed suicide. Listen, I don't get involved in that stuff. No. I don't like him for that stuff. I don't give a fuck what TMZ in this personal life is. All I'm saying, I like him for his body of work, what he's done. His story was crazy how he wrote himself a check when he first came to L.A. He wrote himself a $10 million check. Like, you envision it, you can put it down. Wrote himself a $10 million check. I think he said 3 or 5 years later since he wrote that check, he had a $10 million check because he did Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and The Mask in the same year. He had obviously $10 million. Well, his father passed away because he said his dad was always the funniest guy in the world, and that's where he got all his funny from.
Wow.
But his father was a musician, and his father always wanted to be this star, and he was in Canada, but didn't pay the bills, so he became an accountant, kind of put a chip on his shoulder. Yeah. So then Jim was like, I was kind of doing it for him. Like, I want to show him, like, you couldn't do it, so I'm going to do it. And he goes, and finally, I wrote myself this $10 million check, and I get the $10 million. My dad, right before The Mask came out and was the hit that it is, he passed away. So as they're burying his dad, he slipped that $10 million check in his dad's pocket as they buried him. It's a crazy story. Wow. Yeah, phenomenal story.
Wow.
Yeah, but they showed Jim at the Comedy Store, which I'm at the Comedy Store tonight, and I saw him. It's the same stage, the main stage. Like, oh fuck, that's Jim Carrey.
Oh sure.
Oh
yeah.
my god,
he was in the original room for years,
all the time.
Yeah.
But when I see it, I'm like, oh, that stuff makes me so nervous. I was like, oh my god, that's where I'm at Monday night. Yeah. Oh my god, what am I doing?
He's as good as it gets. I remember watching him.
People say he's crazy. I'd like to get your opinion on it because you watch it and he goes, I know Andy as well as I can know him. Like, as far as not being him, I know him better than anyone that isn't him. Like, I studied everything, met with his family, former girlfriend, everything, wife, kid. Like, not kids, but as far as anyone know, I was close as you can get to him without being him. And then he goes, but as an actor in entertainment, how well do you really know yourself? Like, being like, you're constantly playing this other person, this musician. He's like, how even when you meet someone, how well do you really know him?
Yeah.
And I can see how people are like, oh, he's crazy or this, that. And I know he has this weird stuff on YouTube, but a lot of it makes sense.
Yeah, I think
what I think he is, I think he's a guy who's experienced a lot, got to the top of the mountain, and then now he's still creative as fuck, and he's just kind of looking back and everything. And I think the world in entertainment that we live in, and especially to his degree, it's such a mind fuck. Yeah. He's trying to unravel everything now because he's there.
I think he's a guy. First of all, I remember watching him in Ace Ventura, and I remember watching him in Living Color, and I used to only watch in Living Color for him, and I would wait. And I remember being so astonished at how good he was. Like, I don't care what anybody says. And it was really fashionable. When I was on Mad TV, it was really fashionable for everybody in the comedy world to hate Jim Carrey.
Why?
Because he was obvious, because he was not cool, because he was
God.
so good. So Ace Ventura, like, I remember, like, what would you rather see, watch Jim Carrey or have slow dental surgery? And I remember that. And it was fashionable to hate on Jim Carrey.
Because people are haters.
And I was like, and I remember going, well, I must be missing it, because to me, this guy is a fucking genius. And I saw that movie in the movie theater, Ace Ventura, the first one. And nobody knew who he was. I mean, they knew him from In Living Color. But the laughter in that, and I was like, it's hard to astonish me. I was so fucking astonished at everything that guy was doing.
Oh my God.
And then he did The Mask. And if you go back to see how good he was in The Mask as well, his ability to not only be, to do impressions, but also to just be originally hilarious.
He would get up at the Comedy Store and not write anything, just get up there and he goes, I'd just try and feel things out. And he said he had a breakthrough when he got up there and didn't care what the audience. He was like, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Because he got standing ovations for his impressions.
Well, no,
but he said, I'm not going to do impressions anymore.
So then he went up there just doing his thing, and he goes, how's everyone doing? Before they can answer, he goes, all righty then. And then just slams the mic, and he goes, it was a breakthrough for me because I don't get it. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing what I want to do.
Exactly.
And he's like in the established relationship, like, I'm here to entertain you. There's a reason why you're here. Here's how it's going to go. Yeah. And it came from, how you guys doing tonight? Before they could answer, he goes, all righty then. Just saying what you're saying.
Funny in his fucking sleep. Fucking funny in his sleep. And, you know, I think he's a guy who literally got to the top of the mountain, like you said, had all the money in the world. And then because he's such a creative guy, and probably that's where he gets the meat of his existence, I think he was like, all this stuff is one big distraction. And he probably had a bit of a crisis. That crisis of being at the top of the mountain and feeling the same or not feeling what you thought you were going to feel. And then kind of going, this maybe the problem is attachment, maybe the problem is materialism, maybe the problem is all these things.
Crazy.
But so he's just searching, trying to find the answer.
I had fans reach out to me like, don't look up to him too much. Have you seen his personal life, what he did with his ex, where, you know, he made her commit suicide?
He didn't make
So I looked into it. I'm like, all right, first of all, you know, the girl's like, you know, before I met you, I had confidence, and you introduced me to cocaine and hookers, and you're talking about a good time, and this, and then she goes, and you belittled me, and now I'm committing suicide. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm sure she had prior issues before she met Jim Carrey. And that's what Jim says. Jim goes, she was a tortured soul. Yeah. We had a relationship. Yeah. This, did it help her? No. But I sure as fuck didn't I didn't help her commit suicide.
No, that's not. That's a much.
She might have been looking for a reason.
A much deeper issue. Yeah.
Like you would, and then you gave her herpes. All right, herpes, terrible. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Apparently he did. Apparently she faked her medical records too. Do you know that? That's the new stuff that came out. So that's not proven.
So when fans send me stuff like someone in the DMs, I went, listen, bro, you're basing these accusations off a TMZ article. Yeah. That doesn't work for me. Yeah. And I said, do you know someone in Jim's camp? Do you know someone's in this girl's camp? Yeah. Unless you base it off what you get from TMZ or that's not real, man. Yeah. You can't justify that Jim's a bad person because of this one side story where the family's so upset that their daughter committed suicide. Of course they want to point the finger at Jim Carrey. Yep. I guarantee you she had huge issues before she started dating Jim. 100%. You just don't commit suicide because someone gives you herpes and made you do cocaine. When I said make, that's very
There is a shitload of fake news out there. There really is. It's amazing.